In today's video, I'm sharing with you guys everything I eat in a day, including recipes for vegan pumpkin granola, kid-friendly mac and cheese, and super simple tofu bowls. You'll be seeing us enjoy lots of our meals out of these beautiful handcrafted coconut bowls, and they are kindly sponsoring today's video. Good morning, you guys. It is a Wednesday here in October. I'm gonna film everything I eat today and hopefully share with you guys some yummy recipes. I've got a recipe to share right now, actually. I meal prepped a batch of vegan pumpkin granola the other day, and it came in so handy all week long. All I did was mix up some rolled oats, pecans, pumpkin seeds, spices, and then I coated those in a mixture of pumpkin puree, a little bit of coconut oil, and some maple syrup. Then I just poured this out onto a baking sheet, spread it out into a thin, even layer, and pressed it down a little bit. And then I baked it for about 20 minutes total in the oven. I like to bake it for 10 minutes towards the top of my oven, and then move it down to the bottom rack to bake for another 10 minutes so I don't have to stir it. And once you allow it to cool completely without touching it, you'll end up with these amazing, delicious, crunchy clusters. So this came in handy all week long. You guys know I'm big into meal prep, so I just had to share something I meal prepped earlier in the week that I was enjoying this day. I have been up for a little while, had my vitamins, my prune, a lot of water, a cup of tea that I'm still finishing. It's cold now, and I am about to make breakfast. I usually eat breakfast before the rest of my family because I'm up early and my kids sleep late. Well, we're working on my son, but usually how breakfast works is that I have a couple items meal prepped. So yesterday I made a bunch of pumpkin things. It's like once you open a can of pumpkin, you gotta make all the things. So got some pumpkin granola here. This doesn't have a lid. Can I just pause to say that I try to reduce my plastic use, but sometimes I am human and I forget, or I just reach for plastic wrap that's really nearby instead of transferring my granola to a different container. Okay, bye. Some pumpkin overnight oats. So I'm switching it up. I'm not having chocolate for breakfast, which is exciting for me. So I think I also have some yogurt that goes with the granola or fruit, and my family can just decide what they want. I like to have healthy options on hand, and then they can decide what they want to eat. So I think I, for the first time in ages, am craving a yogurt bowl. So I think I'm gonna do some yogurt, pumpkin granola, almond butter, and banana. That sounds good. So I'm gonna whip that up and enjoy it while I wait for my kiddos to wake up. Switching it up. I haven't had yogurt in ages. So as a mom to two little kiddos, I often eat my breakfast in stages. As you can see, I ate some upstairs, then my son woke up, so then I had to get him up for the day. But this day was also my work day, so I ended up finishing some at my laptop. So yes, this is a very realistic look of how I get to eat my breakfast most mornings. I'm really curious if some of you guys can relate to me in the fact that I used to not care about coffee at all. Well, I enjoyed drinking it, but I would just drink whatever, whenever, the cheapest brand, stuff that had been pre-ground and sitting on the grocery shelf for ages. But now I have become a coffee snob thanks to quarantine and my sister's influence. So I thoroughly enjoy my hot black cup of coffee every morning. We get our coffee beans from a local coffee shop, and they roast the beans fresh every week, and it is so good. So I have a bunch of recipe videos to shoot and photos to take, so I'm gonna have a little snack. This is nothing new. I always have a tub of energy bites in my fridge. I switch up the flavor depending on what I'm feeling or what I have on hand, but I have one last tahini brownie bite that I'm going to have because I haven't had any chocolate today, which is weird. So I'm gonna have this to hold me over until lunch so I can get a bunch of work done while the lighting is good. I love chocolate. So I had been recipe testing some vegan mac and cheese the past few weeks. I've been making it non-stop because my kids really enjoy it, especially my son. So I thought I would, on this work day, make it again, take some photos, and share with you guys the recipe as well. I love to include some fresh veggies whenever possible at all my lunch and dinner meals. So before I got started on the mac and cheese, I just cut up some Brussels sprouts and got those roasting. And also got some pasta water boiling that I salted. So the sauce for this mac and cheese isn't completely Whole Foods based. I'm making a roux, so I'm starting with some vegan butter, and I'm gonna melt that before adding in some flour, and you're gonna whisk this over the heat until it thickens and it becomes really nice and smooth. And then I slowly add in some non-dairy, unsweetened, unflavored almond milk. The sauce comes together really quickly, so I always get my pasta boiling as I make it. But once your sauce is nice and smooth, the butter and the flour mixture, you're going to add in some nutritional yeast. Stir that until well combined. It'll continue to thicken as it sits over the heat. And then you're just going to add in some spices. I tried to make this recipe as simple as possible for busy moms. And then an optional ingredient is some shredded vegan cheese. I don't always add this, but sometimes when I want it to taste like boxed mac and cheese, I add in just a half cup of vegan shredded cheese. As you can see, for some extra protein and greens, I added some frozen peas to my pasta towards the end of the cooking time, and then I just drained and rinsed that all off, stirred my Brussels sprouts as they were roasting, and was ready to assemble. So all you have to do is combine the sauce and the pasta and the peas or whatever veggies you're using. Stir until combined. I saved aside some of the pasta cooking water to add to my cheese sauce as it gets kind of thick, and that helped thin it out a little bit. But now you've got some quick and easy vegan mac and cheese that I'm sure your kiddos will love. We served this mac and cheese with the roasted Brussels sprouts and tons of black pepper because I'm addicted and I grew up putting black pepper on my mac and cheese, so the two just go together. It is mandatory in my opinion. I thoroughly enjoyed this lunch, as did my kids who had just gotten back from a day out in the woods with their dad.
Thank you. You made a Baxter. Harper, are you cold? I can feel that cold air.
Man, Brussels sprouts are so good.
Harper, the first time we've ever had food other than milk was in this house. Steamed, pureed Brussels sprouts on her face. Want some mac and cheese?
So before we move on to the rest of what I ate this day, I wanted to talk about these beautiful handcrafted coconut bowls that have been made from discarded coconuts. We love our coconut bowls because, well, first of all, they remind us of Asia where we normally live and where coconuts are abundant, but they also provide jobs for rural coconut farmers and artisans as they can take the discarded coconut shells and turn them into beautiful handcrafted bowls, which, might I add, are perfect for spinning as shown by my daughter. Obviously, they're also such a great way to reduce plastic. You can take these to local restaurants or smoothie bowl places and use those instead of takeout containers, so I'm so excited to use them in Malaysia and to take them with us whenever we eat out. Coconut Bowls is kindly sponsoring this portion of the video, and they are providing you guys with 15% off your first order. Just use the code FAITH15 when you go to checkout. I'll leave all the links down below and you will get 15% off your first order. Christmas is just around the corner, so if you have any foodies or food bloggers in your life, these would make the perfect gift. So I've mentioned in a previous What I Eat in a Week that I don't really like apples, and every once in a while I'll crave them, but I started eating this one and then it had this weird thing in the middle and I was just over it, so I had some pretzels instead. It is about 4:40. My sister and I are making one of the meals that I shared in my how to live with meat eaters video. She's making some crock-pot chicken, and I usually make a tofu version of it, but I'm gonna make an even easier baked tofu because I'm feeling very lazy tonight. So all I'm gonna do is press some tofu, coat it in nutritional yeast and soy sauce. It's a recipe from Caitlin Shoemaker's blog from my bowl. Bake it, and we're gonna have it with some steamed rice and roasted broccoli, I believe. So just gonna get going on that. I've got a teething boy here. I've got a potty training daughter on the potty. So we'll see how much I get to before my sister gets back with all her kids and we have dinner together. This was such an easy recipe, dinner, meal, whatever you want to call it, to whip up. All I did was get some tofu pressing and then got some brown rice cooking. Next up, I chopped the veggies that we had left in our fridge. We were kind of scrounging this night, so we had one head of broccoli and then I had another large head of cauliflower, so I just chopped those up into bite-sized florets, put them on a baking sheet. I love to use a touch of olive oil, not too much, and just massage that into the veggies and spread them out into a thin layer before adding some salt and pepper and roasting those in the oven. Once my tofu had pressed, I just chopped it into cubes. I was making quite a bit so that we would have leftovers for the next day for lunch. Definitely something I do on a regular basis to save myself time and energy. But I just cut this tofu into cubes, put it into a large mixing bowl, and then like I said, I just coated it in some soy sauce and a bunch of nutritional yeast. And this kind of acts as a corn flour coating and makes the tofu nice and crispy. So just pour it out onto a baking sheet that has been lined with a silicone baking mat or greased or using parchment paper. Spread the tofu out so that they're not touching each other and bake that alongside your veggies until nice and crispy and ready to eat.
You roll it to mama? Roll it to mama?
So my sister and her kids and both dads arrived not long after I had prepped all the food, and things got a little loud and crazy, so I forgot to film, but here is my final bowl with the rice, veggies, tofu, and I just drizzled some tahini on top. So we just got the kids down to bed. I'm making some tea, and I think I always need a snack before bed, and that usually equals dessert. I have got some almond butter, flourless fudgy brownies, so I think I'm gonna have one of those with my tea to end the night. Actually, I'll just grab it now. These are like my tahini brownies, but just with almond butter. So good. I'm gonna enjoy this with my cup of milky tea and head to bed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out coconut bowls. I'll leave all their links down below, and use the code FAITH15 to get 15% off your first order. I hope you guys love the bowls as much as we do, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.